Hey everyone, it's Brock Bowen here, the Life Terry, and I'm just jumping on another episode and about to have a conversation with a gentleman who I came across recently. He probably showed up in my life about 6 months ago. And yeah, his name's Daniel Raphael. Amongst many of the things that he's able to do and share with people, he is a transformational guide and just a beautiful human being. Really willing to go and dive deep within himself, has some wonderful friends around the world. And yeah, just an honor to have him on today. So I thought I'd bring him on, add some value, have a conversation, just dive as deep as we can on all the different things. And yeah, just a second ago, we were talking about beards and silly ideas and creative genius and stuff. But yeah, where are you in the world today, Daniel?
I'm in LA right now. I'm stopped by here for a few days and driving up the country to Oregon and Washington in a week. So I'm excited. Yeah.
And you're about to do 2 months in the wild, aren't you? You're going to do,
Yeah.
is that still in the cards? You're going to do 2 months of solitude,
Yeah.
just chill for a bit?
40 days to start before the solar eclipse, which I'm excited about in Oregon. So I'm going to go in a cabin in the woods with a good friend and just stay away from electronics really for the most part.
Mm.
And working with some magical plants that are actually legal from the Amazon that strengthen your willpower and ground you and actually expand your auric field.
Mhm.
It's about really strengthening and solidifying as opposed to a lot of plant medicines that dissolve and, do other things that give you downloads. So it's integration phase, which has been a long time coming, which I've needed. So I'm excited for that. Yeah.
So how do you navigate all these things? Just to dive straight into it. A lot of people say to take 2 months out of your schedule. You've got a lot of stuff on. If you look at your life, you probably don't necessarily have the time, but you're going to prioritize it because it's important.
Yeah, I could easily get wrapped up in so many different things. I have like some of the top CEOs in the world and like flow experts that want to collaborate, that are ready to create businesses now.
Mm.
And I've already learned that the hard way, that we have so many insights and ideas, and I have to let my body catch up with my mind. And so it's really about embodiment and integration.
Mm.
It's probably going to be the last time where I can actually, not the last time, but just for a while, because once I launch my company Light Club, which is like a CrossFit for your soul,
Mm.
in a couple months, there's going to be a lot of stuff to do and a big team to manage. And
Mm.
so it's actually, even though there's so many amazing people now that want to collaborate, that are ready, it's really hard for me to just go off. But I know that it's the right thing to do, and I'm really excited to do it because it's hard. It's been a long time coming.
Let's
And
talk about the power of saying no. Let's drop into that space. How do you
yeah.
how do you say no to things in the flow? Like, what's the structure in terms of how you navigate your reality? I'm curious to know that. One for myself, but two for everyone listening.
Yeah, definitely. It's a dance because we have an intuition which guides us, and we also have other sensations that want us, for example, to check Facebook 100 times a day
Mm.
or to eat food that we shouldn't eat. And so the trick is not realizing that we don't have to listen to every sensation in our body, and that's pretty much what the Buddha taught
Mm.
2,000 years ago.
Mm.
And so um, the awareness of your patterns and programs helps you in realizing, okay, this sensation is telling me to check my phone now, but I'm going to choose not to do it and create a system so that I can drain all this interference from my life and really allow myself to return to the pure innocent state that I was born into.
Like our son, like I haven't talked about that yet, but I have a 10-week-old son. And when I look in his eyes and I just drop into that, that curiousness, that
Yeah.
curiosity, that quest, that playfulness, and just drop in. He's just how he sees the world is fascinating to me. And if I could even get close to that as an adult, such a beautiful way to be, like just to drop in and have that spaciousness with him. It's gorgeous. So in terms of people, I always like to look at this too, so people can have some practical tools while we're chatting and navigating different things. If people want to actually connect into that intuition, for people, not everyone necessarily is going to commit to 2 months in the forest, in a wooden cabin. But if people want to have that as part of their day, what are some of the things you're going to recommend to people to start to actually contemplate who they are, connect to themselves, and get guided by that intelligence, that intuition, rather than the noise?
Yeah, well, I think there's two different steps there. I mean, one step is actually unlocking your intuition,
Mm.
and then the other one is actually draining and releasing all the different interferences from the mind, and from the outside world that are interfering with your intuition.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working on both. And so for the first part, to unlock your intuition, you don't have to go out in the woods to do this. You can do this in a busy city. Taking borax decahydrate baths, it's a form of boron, which takes the fluoride out of your pineal gland and your whole body in a safe way, is a great way to start. You can take half a cup of that, pharmaceutical grade.
Where do we get that from?
I get it from soapgoods.com.
Mm-hmm.
Like 99.99% pure borax decahydrate.
Yep.
I just stick it up in a bath. And I've done that maybe like 30, 40 times. And it really gets rid of the fluoride in your body. That's one of the main culprits and blocking and walling up your intuition, your willpower, and your psychic abilities.
Yeah, wow. Because I heard that I was listening to another podcast that you were on recently. You're talking about that, and I started trying to Google it. But then I went, I'll just ask you when we connect next. And soapgoods.com, good to get it. Give them a shout out. And I'm fascinated by that. Like, I know a while ago I started drinking the filtered water. That makes a big difference, or spring water. And I started taking things like glutathione supplements that would actually seem to detoxify and decalcify the pineal gland. I know people talking about that. Have you played with glutathione as well before?
I've played with glutathione and hundreds of things, and they all help. But if you did grow up drinking or taking showers in tap water in 99% of the civilized world, and there's usually fluoride in it. So it's not about just drinking clean water now, which is very important, but undoing all the damage. And so, there's a whole protocol that you can take, and it's really, there's different ways of doing it. There's different supplements, but there's not one thing really that does it all. I think it's a mix of just changing the whole bioterrain of your body and really detoxing your liver too, your colon, just doing a full body cleanse, a deep, deep, deep cleanse. I've done a few of them over my life. Every time I feel amazing, way better, smarter. Also, candida is a big culprit. If you have brain fog, mood swings, confusion, exhaustion, chronic fatigue, it's hard for you to just figure out stuff. You most likely have candida or similar parasite. So taking red pine oil and taking a break from sugar for a couple months, I did that, changed my life as well. So I'm talking about fruit, like just no sugar, and you can use like a stevia, which I don't like the taste of, or monk fruit, or actually tastes great. That's what I use so you can still have sweet things. And take some red pine oil. It kills off the candida, and it can improve your IQ dramatically and your stability and your whole body. So doing cleansing will get rid of a lot of the physical interference and allow your intuition on a physical level to open back up. And then it's, again, just deprogramming from the school system. We've been taught the opposite land of like listening from outside authority and memorizing useless information instead of going within. So we can ask a question. We can say, okay, and it's usually easier to practice on someone else that you don't know, just so and then you can ask them. So with my clients, I do intuitive guidance. So a lot of times I speak with people for the first time. I don't know what's going on, and I'm a clair-empath, so I can feel in my body what they're going through, and I get messages, which is clairaudience. I can see things, which is clairvoyance. I just know things as well, which is claircognizance. So a lot of times I'm like, okay, your wife isn't communicating to you about this. So the reason I can tune into all of this stuff, and everyone else can actually, is one of the easiest ways is just ask a question in your mind. It's like you allow the person you're tuning into your field, and then you can feel what they're feeling. Like, what do you feel? Explore it. And for some people, they're going to get nothing. And it's not that they're not psychic. It's that there's these programs. They're like, oh wait, I didn't get something right away. I can't do this. This isn't real. Or it's like, what if I do the wrong thing? Or what if I say to my mind? And so it's an obsession about being wrong, which is from trauma, from being punished at school and being told you're not good enough, and from parents and other authority figures. So first step is not giving a fuck. Like, that's the most spiritual thing you can do, is just being like, if you're wrong, which is like, it's just a projection from your own mind, then the lesson, great. So now okay, that's a frequency. Maybe you felt like a push, and it's like, oh, she's, this is happening. And she's like, no, it's not. Okay, now I can feel that was my ego, and I know what it felt like, and I know what it's, felt like coming out of my head. And now I know that that's not my intuition. And so practicing and exploring and simply through the act of experimenting, it's a science and an art. And that will help build that muscle again of trust in your own intuition. And the more you trust and allow, the more intuition will grow and stronger. And everyone has different strength. Like, I think everyone, for the most part, has clairsentience, which is feeling outside of you other people in different capacity. We can feel vibrations. So for most, easiest one to play with first. And so you can feel like, oh, are you feeling off? And you can feel maybe in a certain part of your body, like in your belly. And then you ask him a question. If you don't have to say what it is. You're like, are you feeling a little off in your belly? That's how I started. I felt, but I didn't know what it was. And I asked questions. And then they get to answer. And then you get to be like, oh, okay, that's what I thought actually. And it's like, oh, wow. And it's like, maybe this is a physical issue. This is an emotional issue based off a different frequency that you feel. And so through the experimentation, it's going to unlock. And then the last part is really allowing yourself to have clear boundaries with other people's emotions. Because as empaths, we pick up on other people's emotions. We're living in a victim mentality, not because we're empaths. So it's really knowing that this is their issue, even if they're tortured and they're heartbroken. It's not going to help them or you to take on their emotions. You have to be neutral, and you have to get your ego out of the way. When you do that, and you're not the healer, and you don't have a need of helping someone else, and you're just reflecting the truth and allowing yourself to be a channel, that's where the quantum awakening occurs. And people, and this is what I do on stage now in 5 minutes. People come up and they break through their issues, and they have a big awakening in 5 minutes on average. And it's because I'm neutral. I don't need for me to heal them or to give myself meaning. I don't need them to come out a certain way. I trust, and I know that whatever's in the highest good is going to happen. And I create a field where if they come up, they're going to have a breakthrough. And so it's really about looking at our complexes of like, do we have a savior ego or, a wounded hero archetype? And these are things that are from the wounded child. And it's okay to talk about them and express them and realize that they're actually not serving you. And the more we just neutralize our energy and come from a vibration of channeling source, then the more the intuition comes through and the more we can actually serve people.
Yeah, I love that. I love the elements of trust in it as well. I think that's where I believe everyone gets the feeling or the intuition or the guidance, and the more they clean up their channel. But the element of trust in it is where people hold themselves back for sure. I don't know why my audio is just making a few funny noises there. Is it okay on your end?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's cool. I had an experience a while ago where I was with a gentleman who, in terms of the finance scene in Sydney, he's huge. He makes big money. He sprouts himself as a really successful guy, but the pain that's worn on his body, his face is grey. He's got veins coming out and quite overweight. I remember him storming into a meeting. I was with another guy. And this is one of my first experiences of being, it almost seemed insane how committed I was to trusting my innate intelligence or intuition. This guy stormed into a meeting when I was with another guy in a boardroom. And he comes in, next thing he's like, this has to happen. And then this has to happen while I'm trying to have a meeting with another guy. And just trying to power move. You know when people do that power move? Like you could even feel it just then. He's just trying to, like, we're sitting down and he's storming over the top. And now, before I could even think about it, I noticed that my hands went out. The next thing I was tickling this guy on the belly. I was there just like tickling him on the belly. I'm like, fuck, I'm really tickling him on the belly before I could even think about it. And the beautiful thing about that was he had a transformation where he actually came along to another event that I ended up hosting. And out of 30 men that were there, the only man that he would go in front of was me. And now I've heard he dropped weight and his life transformed. But if I hadn't been willing to go there, which to me seemed crazy at the time, now I just trust it more and more. And there's not necessarily a particular strategy or process. And behind it, there obviously is, but it's a different expression. There's definitely a strategy and process, but the behavior is different. I've seen some facilitators where every time someone comes up, we do a particular process, we click our fingers, and then the change happens. Whereas I'm looking at it deeper too, where I'd be curious to see your explanation of it too. Do you feel like there's similarities between the transformations people when they come up on stage, or do you feel like it's just you see what shows up as you be a channel for guidance?
Yeah, it's both. And with unity consciousness, they both can be true. It's the left and right brain. It's the logical. We have tools. We know the universal laws. We have techniques. And it's all intuition at the same time. And so every moment, it's like we got to have a refresh rate, like button, you know,
Mm.
and that's just being present. And most healers don't do that. They're, you know, they find an issue, maybe a block, and then they start talking about it, but then they're not realizing, oh wait, they went out of the body, or they shifted here, this triggered that. You got to
Mm.
keep refresh rate every second, like just continuously, and then you'll know, okay, now I want to use this tool, and now wait, I'm going to stop talking. They just need to be in their body. And
Mm.
so, your friend, for example, being in a high pressure business environment and having excess weight, they're both signs of having big walls up. And we don't
Mm.
need to use more force when there's so much force and over distorted masculine energy. We need the tickle energy, just that softness that bypass the conscious mind
Mm.
and create, you know, through touch, you know, love and gentleness, which can break through any wall. And so I
Mm.
use that actual energy, even with my words, a lot of times with jokes, at the perfect moment to awaken someone out of their story. And
Mm.
so that's a very powerful tool that everyone can use to help awaken themselves and others, which is, it's like loop. It's like breaking people out of their, you know, and just like bring slide and break them out of their story. And so using those different elements is key, and it's a dance.
Yeah, I love it. Question for you. How did you end up at, Dave and Sherry? Dave's got that beautiful place on the beach.
Yeah.
How did you end up there? Dave's a mutual friend of ours that I ended up staying a night at. And my housemate from Venice Beach, who we ended up having an apartment with, Dustin Thomas, you probably know as well.
Yeah, I know Dustin. He's great.
He,
He's amazing. Yeah, Dave, I just met a week ago. Did a session with him and Sherry.
mm,
Sherry's been my client for a few months, and she came to me and just had a really big transformation.
mm,
Um, so I don't feel bad sharing a little bit, but basically, through radical forgiveness and
mm,
acceptance, not only did she transform her whole life, but the lives of her family members and crazy things that were going on, and they magically just shifted within a week by
mm.
changing within yourself and how you relate to everyone else. So it's a really beautiful process, and I'm glad I met them. Yeah.
They're just gorgeous people. I had it where somehow when we ended up in Venice Beach, we were looking for an apartment and nothing quite felt right. And
Yeah.
then I just bumped into my friend Troy as we walked along the beach. And he happened to be in the same spot that I caught up with him 2 years prior to that. And then he ended up putting us on to another friend, and we ended up at their apartment. And we ended up saying yes to it. And we had the opportunity to be with someone in this 2-bedroom apartment. It ended up being Dustin. Now, my son was born 10 weeks ago. And
Wow.
one day prior to that, Dustin was here on the Sunshine Coast. Blessed Christy on the belly. Next thing, she goes into labor. And it's interesting how we navigate these things the same as Dave's place. We went to the beach with another friend right at the front of his home. And we literally stood there and we turned around, like our heads turned around, and we looked at that house. We go, there's something about that house. I like it. We're going to come back here and we're going to go surfing. Now, a week
Wow.
later, we ended up meeting a guy, Mike Sherbakov. He brought us back to the house, and we met Dave and ended up staying there. And it was an amazing time just to trust that level of knowing. But
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about like where you're at 10 years ago, because it's nice to talk about now, but let's talk about, Daniel 10 years ago. So we get an element of what was going on then. What are some of the key things that transformed? You've already talked about some stuff. Obviously, the plants are helping you, some of the processes you're doing, all the different things, plus the borax, plus time in solitude. So many things you could stack on top of all the elements. But what was going on 10 years ago?
What was going on 10 years ago? Let's see. That's 2007.
Mm.
Um, I was in college, and my teachers were telling me I should quit because I was mentally unfit for basic functional tasks.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a psychiatrist that was giving me like 6 or 7 different medications at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
huge doses of uppers and downers, crazy things. I was literally like hearing voices. I couldn't go to a grocery store because I would hear voices of people wanting to attack me. I had anxiety everywhere I went,
Mm-hmm.
horrible anxiety. I would fall asleep at the wheel. I had chronic fatigue, almost narcolepsy, suicidal depression. Felt I was on the spectrum in a lot of ways. Could barely connect with people on
Mm-hmm.
any sort of real level. Wasn't authentic with myself or others. Just had to frequently lie about everything in hopes that someone would like me because I was convinced everyone hated me, every
Mm-hmm.
single person on the planet. And many other issues. So I could barely function, and I felt like a zombie that wasn't in control even of basic, like my facial features. I just felt so robotic and controlled.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, like, look, this isn't working with the psychiatrist. He's actually kind of an asshole.
Mm.
And I'm either gonna, I'm either gonna go crazy and die soon, or I'm gonna have to really uh, heal myself.
Mm.
And I know that it's gonna be a long process. And the only way it's gonna work is if I make a promise now to never give up, because
Yeah.
I'm gonna give up many times.
Mm-hmm.
And I really just like took a moment and just decided that. And crazy things happened where I should have given up. Like I almost died a few times. I mean, I remember one time, like before my first Iboga journey, it's this plant from Africa, which I
Mm.
think any other outside tool, any other medicine helped me more than anything. Um, my passport was in shambles, and I was barely able to take care of my things. And I took time off work, and it was like I already missed a date. It was like the last time. I was like, if I miss this, like they're gonna fire me. And I
Mm.
was at the airport, and they won't let me get on the plane because my passport was like really fucked up. So
Mm.
I left. I like put on a different outfit, and I just like smoothed it out and just like prayed and like went to a different person in line. Prayed that I
Mm.
didn't get the person, and like barely made it on the plane.
Yeah, right.
And like just this whole series of things just to like, and like if I could have easily given up and not done it, like,
Mm.
but if I did, I would have been dead by now for sure.
Mm.
Like I had to go through these trials, and it's just part of the hero's journey. The universe tests us to make sure we really want something.
Mm.
But when we really, push, miracles, absolute miracles happen. And
Mm.
so it's really about allowing yourself to receive what's right in front of you, because whatever we've manifested is right here, right now.
Mm.
And it's about trying to manifest more and more. It's about really receiving and trusting what's there and seeing the lesson in it. And the more we receive and acknowledge the lessons, the faster we can up level and scale our consciousness to transcend and really live in paradise more and more.
Yeah, that's what I like, man. The heaven on the earth, paradise. Even one of our retreats coming up, the place is called Heaven on the Planet. I had it at the start of the year too, where I was just looking at some of the stuff I was doing in my business, and it didn't quite feel aligned with what I really wanted. And I stripped it apart, kind of like you're going into the cabin, just slowed it all down, spent time in nature, did a few different things. And then I just stepped journaling what was most important to me. Because I did that big trip around the world where I met everyone and had the most incredible time ever. And it came back and I felt like I was having a flow hangover. It's just like full dream space, just completely navigated, got back to Cairns and went, oh, I don't want to be here. And I got invited to other opportunities, but I didn't want to have just that outer freedom. I like that now, where I'm like experiencing the inner riches and the internal alchemy and the transformation. But even one of the gentlemen that actually you connected with when you're over in California, Jiro, 2 days after I arrived here, I just had that thought, I'd like to catch up with Jiro. 2 days after I got here, he arrived. And we're going to catch up again tonight. And yeah, it's interesting too, when we slow it all down, how much life gifts us, how much life blesses us. Incredible. But touching on that thing too, there are people right now, a lot of people, whether it's whatever we want to call it, a lot of the gifted people right now with the system are being put on medication. I've seen it too with a lady that I know from Townsville. Her mum, once she started hearing those voices, once she started tuning in, her mum just thought it was wise for her to go on medication, and she's struggled for a bit. She's coming off it now, but she's going through some challenges. And what do you think the first step is for a lot of those people? Obviously, it's different for everyone. But like the mainstream system right now takes people to psychiatrists, puts people on medication. Where do we
Right.
start? And there's also the alternative of, coaching programs that are more the super yang, get people in, get them to cover everything up with a peak state. The simplest way to describe it. You just overlay what the pain is and put a peak state on top with a behavior, and it will look like they're successful, but it's a cover up still.
Totally. I totally agree with you. And I've worked with many people coming off of prescriptions. I'm not an expert though. I'm not offering medical advice, and I don't want to create a generalized on coming off medication, but I focus on helping people on the root issues, so that they're not trying to fill a void and resist and like shut out life because of trauma and pain. And so, the root issue is part of it, but a lot of times too, they need some herbs and some nature to just reset their body. And going through a detox is really helpful. Some people go to Iboga clinics, I don't work with that personally.
Mm.
I just people with energy over the phone or in person
Mm.
without plan, but they can go to a center to do that. Kratom is also another option to temporarily, if they're opioid addictives, people are using Kratom to get off of Vicodin and things like that, heroin. But overall, it's really just allowing your system to detox and slowly weaning off, and realizing that whatever you're trying to escape, it's something that's from the past. It's an echo of the past
Mm.
that you don't need to escape from anymore. And really doing the work and going inside and getting support from someone that can help rewire that for you is key to, on the root level, transcending that and not needing to go back to that pattern anymore.
Yeah, for sure. I like that.
Yeah.
Let's talk you now though, daily habits. I'm curious about, I'm sensing you probably a little bit flexible in how your day shows up, but I'm curious if there's any foundational habits you found useful in terms of your journey.
I love cold showers because it has so many health benefits, but it also breaks you out of your head and your mood, and just gets you into that warrior state, and up.
Yeah, it's the best.
So I recommend do that in the morning, even if it's for a few seconds. But I like doing like maybe a few seconds of hot, just you're just waking up. If it's too hard, then switching to cold and just doing like a minute. Taking a walk in the morning too, just little things to just break out of your head is great. I've been traveling, so I'm actually excited to go like develop a 40-day like this ridiculously amazing routine for myself now that I'm going to be in nature here. But magical machine that I use to meditate with in the morning.
Oh yeah, can we experience that over the phone? Is that your Tesla one?
Yeah, it's this new Tesla rodent coil device that plugs into your phone, and it actually you can see here there's all these it's made of magical crystals here. You can get this on ipyramids.net. So the letter I and then pyramids.net, and my name, and they'll give you the best deal. It's actually not expensive, and I was always thinking for years, like I wish there was a machine that could just emit any frequency you want. Every frequency does something else, right? So now you can really connect to your phone, and you can put in 512 hertz for your heart opening. You could put in 2 hertz to regrow your nerves. People are having to feel it. It's the real deal. It's the only healing machine that I use, and it's part of my daily ritual now because it just instantly helps me get into the field. Just being in this high vibrational field. Then the rest of the day is just great. So
yeah, I saw that message from you the other day. I definitely got to get one. I love them.
Oh yeah, totally. And then I love tonics and superfoods. It's a ritual of just giving yourself a nourishing, like hot, healthy drink in the morning. It's just like lift up, and the rest of the day is really amazing, but I'm excited to like go into rivers when I'm in the woods here soon, and just do more nature and whiteboard out what's going on in consciousness, and really go deep with all of that. So I'm actually gonna go up there with a new friend that I met, who's I consider a savant with superpowers, amazing man, and it's been great to just be hanging around with superheroes. And what I consider a superhero is someone with a really pure heart, an awakened spirit and mind, who has special abilities that they've started to access in a significant way, and who's here to use them for the benefit of humanity and for the planet. And so I'm excited to go deeper with these people and really co-create an amazing organization called Light Club, which is an X-Men superhero academy and a gym for your soul. And really exciting that this is all converged.
Yeah, I love it that's coming through in that way, because I feel like, when I contemplated that with you 10 years ago, a lot of people had to hide that stuff. I bumped into a gentleman the other day, maybe 2 weeks ago, and he hears the voices in his head and he hears these different things. And I'm sitting there having the thought, well, that's what I get paid to do.
Yeah.
And you're getting medicated to not have it.
Exactly. Usually what people feel are labeled as problems are an over amplification of your superpowers, specifically sensitivity of empathic abilities. Like maybe you're feeling too much. It's not that you're feeling too much. It's simply that you're feeling a lot, and it's distorted through different programs of social conditioning to make it very comfortable where you are told to take medicine. But it's actually a gift, and what used to be what I thought was a problem, that I was like, I'm too sensitive. I was crying. I was being a victim. Now I'm getting paid a lot of money to help people doing what I love, simply by being sensitive, simply by using that problem that I thought I had, and realizing that I just had to detangle it a little bit from the conditioning, which is actually very easy. And what I help people do now is actually activate their superpowers, because I feel everyone's a superhero. And it feels great to really be focusing more and more on that and helping people unlock that, because it really changes the rest of their lives, because it shifts them from a victim to an architect of their reality.
Yeah, I love that. It's just that fun thing when you see people that think they're fucked up and then they actually realize they're beautiful as they already are, and sharing those exact gifts. That's what I love with catching up with that gentleman the other day, just to say a couple of words of affirmation with him. But I would like to spend some more time with him, because there's all these people medicated right now that have these gifts that can actually be kind to our planet. But it's cool. I know we wanted to keep it tight today. We'll have to get on and have another conversation another time. 55 seconds just to share, your message with the world, just whatever comes through right now. We've dropped in and we've shared a lot of different things, but I always like the number 55 comes up a lot for me.
I love that. 5 is my lucky number. So perfect.
And I had it like, that's a program I do, but I was born 55 centimeters long. My son was due on the 5th of the 5th. I've got a new guy working on my team, 5th of the 5th birthday. He sees 555 everywhere. And he just gave up a job, 600,000 US, to come and do some other stuff. There's real superheroes coming in, and this going, you know what? That world doesn't interest me anymore. I want everything. And I'm sure he'll make way more money, but his quality of life will just escalate. So I love that. Yeah, the 5. It's beautiful. But anyway, 55 seconds. Keep you focused.
All right. So I was born May 10th, so that's 5:10 at 5 p.m. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
So my message is, stop giving a fuck about what people think about you, because anytime someone's judging you, it's their own social engineering and mind control programs that are coming out. So it's literally like thinking, I wonder what this robot part of someone thinks about me. It's all been engineered. So just surround yourself with people that are a fuck yes. And for the people that you love but that you have issues with, which is normal, be radically transparent. Be radically transparent with everyone. And the more radical transparency you have, don't be scared about hurting someone's feeling. No one's a victim. Yep. Everyone needs to grow. They're either going to leave your life or they're going to get closer to you. But stop having people in limbo. And the more you're radically transparent, the more you're going to increase your intuition, the more you're going to open your heart, the more you're going to activate your superpowers, the more money you're going to make, the more joy you're going to have in your life, because you're calling out and releasing all these distortions outside of yourself that are simply reflections of codes inside of yourself that were meant to enslave you. And so just taking radical responsibility for everything, realizing that everyone that triggers you is simply triggering some part of you that needs more love and awareness, having radical gratitude, which is above forgiveness, really only thanking that person, that part of you, when we can really transmute and appreciate and value those codes. And through that practice, that simple practice, everything changes, everything shifts. I came from being almost, nearly dead, dysfunctional human being that everyone said I would never really be functional in some ways. My psychiatrist thought I needed to be on medication for the rest of my life, just barely function, to not being on any meds for, at least 6-7 years now. And, traveling the world doing what I love. And so fuck the people that are telling you not to do something. They're just sleeping, and it's okay. You can love them. And it's okay to also swipe left on people that are not for your highest good at the same time, and really just be okay. Not, just realize that it's really taking responsibility and being like, if someone keeps triggering you, why are you allowing them in your field? Either be transparent or take some space from them, do it with love, and realize that you're creating everything. It's all from the coding inside yourself. So recoding yourself, always be coding every day. Using your language, abracadabra means with my word I create. And through that practice of not projecting on other people, receiving the reflections, and being impeccable with your language, you're going to be creating a beautiful reality here. And you're going to see the transformation right away.
I love that. And abracadabra made me ask one more question. Real magic versus magic. There's stage magic and then there's the real magic. Yeah. What's the difference for you?
So stage magic is using mentalism, illusion, misdirection, things like that to create visual, phenomena for people. And real magic I think the definition of magic is simply changing reality with your will. So we're actually doing it at every moment. We're actually manifesting at every moment, whether we like to or not, and whether we're consciously doing it, labeling it as that or not. And so now that we know that and remember that, we can realize that we can be more intentional with our magic by learning the basics of magic. And the 3 basics are, we use our language. So we can program ourselves, reality around us with our words. And whenever we speak, we have a feeling, we have a sensation. So that's our energy. And the more we do Qigong, we play with our energy, the more power we can move in ourselves and in others. And our visualizations is the force fields we're creating. So it's being conscious of and starting to play with the visualization and the energy of that, and our words, and the alchemy of that is a foundation for magic. Whenever we're gonna focus on a beautiful golden bowl of light around us, the more we feel it and see it, not only are we gonna feel better, but people are gonna come up to you and be like, "Whoa, I feel this amazing vibe on you." It's because it's just in a different dimension. We operate in multiple densities of time, space, and beyond. And so play with that and realize that it's a science, and people can actually feel it and experience it. And through that, you'll know that it's true. You don't have to take my word for it.
I love that. I love the golden ball of light surrounding us. I love the golden thread. The more that I just tune to that and follow the golden thread, that's why, you guys like you show up in my life and different things. I just did a call with Daniel Eisenman the other day, and somehow we all know each other. Somehow we all keep bumping into each other, and you can say we've got these social media platforms. That's one element, but we literally just bump into each other. It's that vibe. I'm going to show you one little thing here. Look at this. You can see it. Hey, Christy. There's my son.
Wow. Super. I'll probably be in Australia in the fall, so I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know when you're out here. We'll make sure we connect for sure. If guys want to find you, where can we find you right now? Daniel Raphael.
That's the easiest way. I put a lot of content out there, and I have some free calls sometimes, and short conference calls where I share some of these specific codes on magic, activating yourself, deprogramming, and a lot more. And oh my God, look at that!
Yeah, Uncle Daniel.
Wow.
Yeah.
So blessed.
Yeah,
and
man.
you can go to my website at danielraphael.org. And if you feel called to work together to really upgrade and break through, feel free to message me on there or on Facebook.
Sorry about that noise. I'll make sure I put all that stuff in the notes as well.
Oh, perfect. It's so good to see you, brother. And we'll hang out soon.
For sure.